So I just saw it. It's kind of funny the way I felt when this remake was announced. I'm usually cynical as fuck when it comes to this kind of thing, but I hate the first adaptation of the book so much that I was actually excited when it was announced. And then I got pissed when Cary Fukunaga left the director's chair. That's when the cynicism began to set in. And then the first image of Pennywise was released online and I didn't know what to feel. There were things I liked about it and things I didn't. And then the first trailer came out and I was excited all over again. And then I saw it, so what'd I think? To be honest, for the first 30 minutes or so of this movie, I don't know exactly how long, I'm just estimating, I was pretty worried. The opening scene specifically was really schmaltzy and corny in the worst possible way. Almost like a DCOM. Like, I get what they were going for. They wanted you to care about the brotherhood between Georgie and Bill, and that makes sense. Because when Georgie gets killed, fuck you, that's not even a spoiler, you want it to be effective. But the writing was just overly sentimental, and it sets a fuzzy, familial tone that is completely butchered by the killer clown that bites Georgie's fucking arm off in the scene right after it. And it's not even the kind of tonal clash that works. Speaking of openings, most, if not all, of the first act is really streamlined and kind of sucks in general. The main characters get their quick introductions, and after, they jump right into going for scares. They waste absolutely no time with it either. And that can work. As for The Evil Dead Season 2, first scene gets right into the bloody schlock nonsense it embraces. But that's the thing, it embraces that throughout. We cut from John Hughes to Tobe Hooper way too often in the first act. Not to mention, the scares in those opening scenes are goofy as hell. If you saw the movie, you'll probably know too in reference to what I'm talking about. But after that first act, it picks up. It gets really, really good. I mean, it's no It Comes at Night or The Babadook when it comes to philosophical, psychological, deep horror, but it's a fun thrill ride the way a blockbuster horror movie should be. Because we were at least introduced to the characters before, the threat becomes more personal as their bonds strengthen, and Pennywise makes it clear he's a legitimate threat. The stakes become real, and the characters actually become worth investing in. While the first act might keep the more seasoned viewer from getting invested right off the bat, by the time the movie ends, you'll have been glad you stuck around. The characters, for the most part, are pretty great. Most of the Losers Club are really well done. Jaden Lieberher, Sophia Lillis, and Jeremy Ray Taylor portray Bill, Beverly, and Ben simultaneously youthful and adult, and do it well in the way this material asks they do. Finn Wolfhard's Richie was a tad underdeveloped, and he's the only kid without any discernible arc or character progression, but Wolfhard brings such a quick wit and colorful personality to him that it's really easy to forgive that. Jack Dylan Grazer was the personal standout for me in terms of child leads. As Eddie, he has comedic chops right on par with Wolfhard's Richie, and their banter makes up some of the movie's funniest moments. But he also has a minimalistic yet effective arc that deals with his overbearing mother. Wyatt Oleff and Chosen Jacobs were fine in their roles as Stan and Mike respectively, but they got a major shaft in terms of development and had almost nothing to work with. It's a shame really, because what they were given, they did well. Now the supporting human cast is a bit ridiculous. Henry Bowers, who you could argue is the secondary antagonist to the titular It, is way too over the top for his own good. His overacting at points, it rivals Eddie Redmayne in Jupiter Ascending his chewing of the scenery. It gets that unsubtle and silly. And in a movie where everyone else in the main cast is played with such genuine humanity, that's kind of a huge deal and kind of a huge detriment. Same goes for the other human supporting cast members. Bev's dad is way too extroverted with his creepiness. There is a way to communicate you're molesting your daughter and still be subtle. It's possible, Musietti. Believe me. And Eddie's mom... Look, I know that isn't her, but it might as well be. Christ, some of these guys might as well be Batman 66 villains. But in the end, it really does come down to that clown, doesn't it? So thank God, it's such a comfort to say that Bill Skarsgård crushes it as Pennywise. He embodies everything the character is and should be, and conveys it all in a way the miniseries failed to. He's both charismatic and devilishly cunning. He uses childlike glee to mask his sinister intentions to the kids, and even though it breaks the tone set by the previous scene, this is already tellable the second he greets Georgie, which on its own, removed from everything it ruins, is an excellent sequence that shows this movie is going to go a little bit farther than most horror films in terms of how it treats its kid characters. Sorry, Tim, you've been dethroned. While the obnoxious campiness of some of the supporting cast might be a bit bothersome, the main cast is so strongly performed and written, Pennywise included, that you pretty much forget about how cringy that pharmacist was. Keep an eye on that one, by the way. I don't like his face. So, do I get to be completely cynical asshole yet? No, unfortunately. I want to be able to complain, fuck you, stop being good at things. Well, I guess I kinda can in some way. For the most part, the musical score is just kind of okay. There isn't anything particularly memorable or special or even offensive about it. It sets the tone fine, but it doesn't ever do more than that. And at times, it does get a bit too blockbusterish for its own good, especially towards the climax. I think Benjamin Wallfish thought he was composing for an Avengers movie? The set design, however, is consistently great. Derry looks like an actual small town in the middle of Maine, and bleeds 1980s in terms of character aesthetics. When the movie needs to be creepy, like anything involving the sewer system and the house on Newbolt Street, they ramp it up to umpteen, and it works. It's classically creepy in an FW for now kind of way, and it works to the film's advantage. Similar to the set design, the cinematography is gorgeous. It's just generally well shot too. The color scheme and the lighting perfectly encapsulate the aura of whatever scene is going on. For example, the opening scene's bluish hue foreshadows the dread of the encounter between Pennywise and Georgie. Anything with the kids hanging out and, well, being kids is warmer and brighter, giving off that summer fun playing in the sun vibe. Beverly's house is dimly lit and shadowed, implicative of the darkness going on within it. So yeah, other than a mediocre soundtrack, not a lot to complain about here. The movie is well made and, well, we kinda touched on writing in the first two categories. Not doing it again. On the whole, guys, I had a lot of fun with this one. It does have a lot of issues, including a pretty insufferable first 30 minutes or so. But once the kids all come together as a unit, and Pennywise begins his reign of terror, that shit goes from carousel to King Da Ka. By the final 40 minutes, I was smiling ear to ear the entire time because I was just enjoying myself so damn much. It isn't the best horror film of the year. That title goes to It Comes at Night, which is so much better objectively. But still, I had a fucking blast with this one. It was fun and spooky in the way the haunted house ride at your county fair is. Not really too scary, but it's just a fun time and the ghoulishness is more retro than psychological, and that's not an insult. It has that whole, it's a horror movie that kicks ass, Dokken would do the theme song for this if it came out 30 years ago thing going on. Am I curious about Fukunaga's more psychological take? Of course. My guess would be that it'd be better objectively, but still, this version was such a good time that I'm fine without the other one. And you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Yeah, Bill Skarsgård is so much better than Tim Curry was in the part. And by Chapter 2, it's very much a possibility that he'll have earned his place in the pantheon of horror greats along the likes of Robert Englund, Tony Todd, and Angus Scrimm. No joke, he's that fucking good. So at the end of the day, when it comes to Colossal's Crazy, the first movie,
I'm feeling a decent to strong 7.